news tonight. Governor Sheriff Oboriwari restates commitment in eliminating gender-based violence in the state. First Lady Senator William 10,000 midwives and nurses across 5 Southeast states. And the board, President Donald Trump declares more National Guards to curb protest in Los Angeles. A wonderful evening to you wherever you're watching from. This is Delta Television News. I am Tony Eloaka. Governor Sheriff Oboriwari has restated his administration's commitment in eliminating the gender-based violence in the state. The governor said this during a high-level multi-stakeholders meeting and launch of the Delta State Action Plan on Prevention of Gender-Based Violence, GBV. The event, which was organized by the Ministry of Women Affairs, Community and Social Development, held at the Unity Hall Government House in Asaba. Esther Oputa reports.
The governor, who was represented by the Secretary to the State Government, SSG, Dr. Kingsley Emu, encouraged parents to give a level playing field to both the male and female child in terms of education. He said support will be given to victims of gender-based violence as severe punishment awaited perpetrators of GBV, describing the action plan as a leading roadmap which is open to upgrade. Governor Dorori said sexual assault referral centers and GBV response team with call lines were part of measures put in place by the state government to curb the menace, urging all stakeholders to avoid harmful stereotypes.
We cannot and must not tolerate a culture that normalizes silence in the face of today. As we unveil the Delta State Action Plan on the prevention of gender-based violence, we are saying clearly and resolutely that prevention of root causes is key.
The Commissioner for Women Affairs, Community and Social Development, Honorable Pat Ajudwa, said the Women Affairs Ministry was committed to coordinating the implementation while calling on stakeholders to ensure its success.
We are standing together today to say that enough is enough. This action plan we are launching today is a combination of tireless efforts, rigorous consultations, and the courageous voices of advocates and community leaders across the state.
In their goodwill messages, the Chairman, House Committee on Housing, Women Affairs, Humanitarian and Girl Child, and member representing Oshimili South constituency, Mrs. Bridget Ayafolu, said the pursuit of the action plan and proper implementation would drastically end gender-based violence. The state head of service, Dr. Mini Oseji, said attacking the male gender may not work, adding that proper orientation of the boy child on mutual respect with the opposite sex would engender peaceful coexistence. The Obi of Oboluno, Obi Henry Kikachiku, said the traditional institutions were key in exposing gender-based violence. The Omu of Asaba, Obi Dr. Ada Biose, want caregivers to shun sending underage children to hawk when they are meant to be in school. The chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, who was represented by the state deputy chairman, Reverend Akokotu, and the head of the Muslim community in Delta State, Alhaji Yunusa, said they won't continue to preach against GBV in worship centers. The Commissioner of Police, Delta State Command, who was represented by CSP Temi Agbede Zokumo, said they had gone round schools to let children know that they can speak out if anyone was trying to harass them sexually. Highlight of the event was the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding by major stakeholders and formal launch of the Delta State Action Plan on Prevention of Gender-Based Violence by the Governor. The event featured dance and drama presentation. Esther Oputa reporting.
The State House of Assembly has dismissed a petition for lack of merit on the alleged unlawful transfer of Mr. Daniel Lebo from the Hospital Management Board as head of administration and secretary to the Mother and Child Specialist Hospital Owalero by the Commissioner Ministry of Health. Favor Okafor brings details.
This report before the House, the Chairman House Committee on Public Petitions and member representing Ughelli North 1, Honorable Matthew Omonade, said after thorough investigation, the committee came up with recommendations. Moving the motion for further consideration of the report by the Leader of the House, Honorable Emeka Nwobi, seconded by the member representing Bomodi constituency, Honorable Oboro Prayo. The committee chairman threw more light on the issue. Members who spoke in favor of the committee recommendations condemned the actions of Mr. Ebo.
So the families of the committee, certainly acknowledge from his response to the reporting to bring as much as the cases show that the examination of office is proud and the sound peace to be able to but the committee to acknowledge what good possession. But we are going to the petition to this House of Assembly, you must know that people have experience and people who do that issue without
The Speaker, the Right Honorable Emomoti Migwo, through a unanimous voice vote, struck out the petition for lack of merit. Favor Okafor reporting.
The State House of Assembly Committee on Education has scheduled Thursday 19 June 2025 for public hearing on the Delta State College of Education bill, slated for 10 a.m. at the Press Center Assembly Complex, Asaba. In a statement signed by the Chairman House Committee on Education and member representing Ndoko West, Honorable Charles Emetulu, has requested for input, both written or oral, from the Ministry of Higher Education, Delta State Colleges of Education, Nosoga and Wari, Delta State University, Abaka, University of Delta Abo, and the Dennis Osadebe University, Anwai. Others are Southern Delta University, Ozoro, Delta State Polytechnic, Otefe, Delta State Polytechnic of Washuku, Delta State Maritime Polytechnic Burutu, Ministry of Justice, other stakeholders and educational practitioners from private and public sectors. It said, all memoranda on the bill, which should be in 20 copies and enclosed in sealed envelopes addressed to the Chairman House Committee on Education, are marked Delta State College of Education bill, should reach the committee clerk on or before Tuesday, 17 June 2025. The First Lady, Senator Oluyemi Tinubu, has launched the distribution of professional kits to 10,000 midwives and nurses across the 5 southeast states of Abia, Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu, and Imo. The initiative, according to her, was part of the Renewed Hope Initiative, RHI, aimed at reducing infant and maternal mortality and morbidity across the country. Speaking before distributing the kits at the International Conference Center, ICC Enugu, Senator Oluyemi Tinubu disclosed that a number brought to a total of 60,000 kits, scrubs and crocs that have been so far distributed across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country to provide midwives with the right tools and kits to encourage them in their work and improve healthcare delivery. The First Lady said that the donation had been made possible through the generous support of an anonymous global partner dedicated to improving health outcomes for citizens. She disclosed that she would launch the Free to Shine campaign and the Triple Elimination Initiative targeting HIV and AIDS, syphilis and hepatitis among women of reproductive age in order to enhance the capacity of healthcare workers all around. The federal government has said that its agricultural reforms was designed to ensure food availability, affordability, and accessibility for all Nigerians. Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, who disclosed this to Newsman in Maiduguri, highlighted the government's ongoing interventions in the agricultural sector to tackle food insecurity and revive the national economy. He said the ministry had adopted a multi-pronged strategy to confront challenges such as insecurity, flooding, and import dependency, particularly in critical areas like wheat and rice production, noting that Cross River had become the first southern state to join the wheat production drive, marking a significant milestone in diversifying the crop's geographic spread. Senator Kyari also said fertilizer distribution under the program had boosted rice production by 58,000 tons, enabling the federal government to stabilize and subsidize rice supply to states affected by flooding. The minister stressed the need to protect both consumers and producers, noting that 80% of our food is produced by local farmers. He said, with Nigeria's population projected to reach 400 million by 2050, the government was focused on mechanized agriculture and youth empowerment to guarantee long-term food security, adding that the government would also work to restore national assets, including tractors and essential equipment to boost productivity. To reduce post-harvest losses, Senator Kyari announced a bilateral agreement with Brazil focused on the preservation, processing and storage of perishable food items. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has renamed the Abuja International Conference Center as the Bola Ahmed Tinubu International Conference Center. The minister also disclosed that the other halls in the facility had been renamed after Vice President Kashim Shettima, Senate President Godswill Akpabio, House of Representatives Speaker Tajuddin Abbas, and Chief Justice of Nigeria, Kekereekun Edun. Mr. Wike stated during the inauguration of the ICC in Abuja. Meanwhile, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has urged the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory FCT, Nyesom Wike, to remain focused on his mandate and not be distracted by critics and onlookers. The Federal Medical Center Abuja has said 8 of its staff members, including 4 doctors, 2 nurses and 2 attendants, are under investigation for alleged negligence at the hospital. The hospital, which disclosed this at a press briefing, noted that any staff member found guilty of the violation of duty would be held accountable. The head of clinical services at the hospital, Dr. Bioku Muftar, added that the accident victims allegedly abandoned by personnel in a trending video on social media have since been treated and discharged. The federal government launched an investigation into a viral video showing alleged neglect of accident victims at the emergency unit of the hospital. The video, which circulated widely on social media, showed victims of a road accident reportedly left unattended by hospital staff after being brought in by a Good Samaritan. The Good Samaritan who recorded the footage claimed he found the victims on the road and transported them to the hospital for urgent care. He alleged that hospital staff refused to provide immediate assistance, which one cited a lack of gloves. He said the findings of the investigation ordered by the Minister of State for Health, Dr. Isaac Salako, would be made public upon conclusion. Dr. Muftar also denied reports that the hospital was overwhelmed by the number of patients at the time of the incident, asserting that the facility is adequately staffed to manage patient care. The The Edo State government has taken delivery of 90 doses of anti-diphtheria vaccines as part of efforts to curb the spread of the infectious disease across the state. The State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Cyril Shumele, said of this in Benin City while handing over 70 of the vaccine doses to the University of Benin Teaching Hospital, UBTH, according to Dr. Shumele. The vaccines were secured through the collaboration of the state government with the National Center for Disease Control, NCDC, and the Delta State Ministry of Health. He noted that while 70 doses were provided by the NCDC, an additional 20 doses were sourced from Delta State. He expressed concern about the evolving nature of the outbreak, noting that some of the confirmed cases had a history of full childhood immunization, raising concerns about the need to expand immunization coverage beyond children. The chairman of the Edo State chapter of Nigeria Medical Association (MMA), Dr. Eustace Osagale, urged residents to embrace routine immunization and adhere to preventive measures to reduce the risk of infection. He emphasized the importance of hygiene, vector control, and early detection, calling for stronger community sensitization and public health education to contain the outbreak. The Nigerian Railway Corporation (NRC) has said the rail transport on the Warri-Itakpe corridor is safe and operational. The Acting Deputy Director, Public Relations (NRC), Mr. Kalistus Onyamadu, said this in a statement in Lagos. Mr. Onyamadu noted that the identified incident, which involved the temporary removal of some rail clips at a specific location on the corridor, was promptly detected during routine inspection and was immediately rectified by NRC maintenance team. He pointed out that the NRC remained committed to the highest standards of safety and security in all its operations, adding that the NRC tracks and rolling stock were under constant surveillance and maintenance, noting that its personnel were fully equipped to address any issues that might arise in real time. Mr. Onyamadu urged the public to disregard the viral message and continue to use the train services with full confidence. You're watching Delta Television Main News. Still to come. President Donald Trump declares more national guards to quell protest in Los Angeles. Details on this story and more after this short break. Please stay with us.
If tanker wey carry fuel fall or pipe wey carry fuel for underground burst, wetin you go do? You go begin bail fuel put for your bucket, or you go run comot far for where the fire go soon come. Na only small time you get to take this wise decision. Waka comot, no, that one no dey enough. Shift, no, that one no dey enough. Stay there dey gist and take pictures with your phone. That na madness. Run, yes, run comot. Yes, your life depend on wetin you do. The fire go come at once and you no go fit control am. Why? Petrol dey catch fire easily. Why? Na just small spark go start big fire. So no stay there dey think. Run comot quick to save your life. No throw away your life away because of say you wan pack petrol. Take this advice. This informate na from Public Enlightenment Office, Delta Broadcasting Service, Asaba.
You're welcome back. You're watching Delta Television Main News. The United States President, Mr. Donald Trump, has deployed more National Guard troops and Marines to Los Angeles as protests in the city continue. Reports say yesterday's protests were calm, adding that the prospect of Marines on the street had sent shivers through communities. The California governor, Mr. Gavin Newsom, said he would take legal action against the deployments, calling President Trump deranged and dictatorial. Demonstrations in the city continued into a fourth day, with new rallies starting up across the U.S. against immigration authorities. Rubber bullets, stun grenades, and other non-lethal weapons have been used against the protesters. And to Israel. Israel said it has begun to deport 12 pro-Palestinian activists, including Swedish campaigner Greta Thunberg, whose Gaza-bound aid boat was seized by Israeli forces in the Mediterranean yesterday. The Israeli Foreign Ministry said Thunberg departed Tel Aviv today on a flight to France after she agreed to be deported. France said 5 of the 6 French activists had refused to sign their deportation orders and would now be brought before an Israeli judicial authority. Their yacht, the Madeleine, was intercepted while they tried to deliver a symbolic amount of aid to Gaza in defiance of Israel's naval blockade to highlight the humanitarian crisis there. The Israeli Foreign Ministry dismissed it as a selfie yacht and announced that the activists had been transferred to Tel Aviv's Ben Gurion airport following their arrival on the port of Ashdod yesterday. Now to business. Let's join our business news desk for happenings in the business sector.
The federal government is expected to lose $4 million from a World Bank loan after failing to meet auditing standards on a key revenue reform covering the Federal Inland Revenue Service and the Nigerian Customs Service. The fund formed part of the $103 million Fiscal Governance and Institutions Project, a public financial management initiative financed through a credit facility from the International Development Association. According to the World Bank's restructuring paper dated June 2025, the revenue assurance audits covering the FIRS and customs for the 2018 to 2021 financial years was assessed as not achieved because the reports submitted did not meet international audit standards. Nigeria has been ranked 3rd among the top 10 manufacturing countries in Africa, according to a report by the African Exponent, an analytical business information source for entrepreneurs and potential investors in Africa. According to the report, within the last decade, a few countries have stood out for hosting the largest manufacturing companies in Africa, both in scale and influence. It listed the top 10 African countries hosting the largest and most influential manufacturing companies, setting new benchmarks for industrial excellence on the continent as South Africa, Egypt, Nigeria, Morocco, Kenya, Algeria, Ethiopia, Ghana, Tunisia, and Zambia. South Africa tops the list as Africa's most industrialized nation. Its advanced infrastructure, diversified industrial base, and global partnerships, especially in the automotive and chemical sectors, make it the continent's undisputed manufacturing giant in 2025. The leading sectors are automotive, steel, chemicals, and food processing. Egypt's manufacturing ecosystem thrives on export to Europe and the Middle East. With a strong presence in chemicals, cement, and pharmaceuticals, Egypt has positioned itself as a continental manufacturing leader supported by industrial reforms. The country is known for the production of cement, textiles, pharmaceuticals, and petrochemicals. Nigeria is home to some of Africa's largest industrial conglomerates. The Dangote Refinery project and the BOA Group's rapid expansion illustrate Nigeria's manufacturing ambitions, buoyed by a large domestic market and policy reforms. The top manufacturing sectors in the country include cement, consumer goods, food and beverages, and oil refining, handled by leading manufacturers like Dangote Group, BOA Group, Nestle Nigeria.
And away from business, now to sports. The The Nigeria Football Federation (NFF) has approved the Sam Okwaraji Secondary School Soccer Championship across the country. The NFF, in a letter signed by the Acting Director of Competitions, Mrs. Ruth David, said the endorsement was in recognition of the objectives and goals of the championship, which would not only impact positively on the youth who are the participants, but also the development of football in the country. The approval is equal to the endorsement of the Senate Committee on Sports Development, led by Senator Abdul Ningi. The initiative, which is billed to be an annual event, was a proposal of the Samuel Okwaraji Foundation to immortalize a late Nigerian international who slumped and died at National Stadium, Surulere, Lagos, in August 1989 during the crucial FIFA World Cup qualifying match against Angola. The NFF also appreciated the foundation for its vision to contribute to the growth and development of grassroots football in Nigeria. The Federation appealed to the organizers to adhere to the extant rules of football as approved by the Federation of International Football Associations (FIFA) during the nationwide competition set to kick off later this year. Educated at an Italian university in Rome, late Okwaraji's commitment to the Nigerian national team symbolizes the true spirit of patriotism on the part of a Nigerian youth who prioritized service to his country above personal. That's our news. Now to our thought for the day. Success is a state of mind. If you want success, start thinking of yourself as a success. Absolutely. To end the Delta Television main news, here are the highlights. Governor Sheriff Oborevwori has reiterated his administration's commitment in eliminating the gender-based violence in the state. The governor said this during a high-level multi-stakeholders meeting and launch of the Delta State Action Plan on Prevention of Gender-Based Violence, GBV. The First Lady, Senator Oluyemi Tinubu, has launched the distribution of professional kits to 10,000 midwives and nurses across the 5 southeast states of Abia, Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu, and Imo. The initiative, according to her, was part of the Renewed Hope Initiative, RHI, aimed at reducing infant and maternal mortality and morbidity across the country. The United States President, Mr. Donald Trump, has deployed more National Guard troops and Marines to Los Angeles as protests in the city continues. Reports say yesterday's protests were calm, adding that the prospect of Marines on the street had sent shivers through communities. And that's the size of our package for tonight. On behalf of the production team, I am Tony Ilwaka. Have a good evening.